Today is my favorite day out of all of the days. No, it's not. Today is Valentine's Day. I don't really get why it's celebrated. I don't know why it exists. I just know I somehow have to make Vanessa happy. That's what she's expecting. And she really deserves it more than anybody else on all of the days in the year. But it seems like since it's a tradition that I just have to figure out something for today. I thought a lot. I still don't know what to get her, but now it's really about time to first head to the studio and get some work done. Between the last shot and this one right now is a gap of 5 or 6 hours. I screwed up. I have a big problem. As you can hear, there is nothing to hear. The battery of the mic was empty. I didn't realize it and recorded an entire tutorial about how to make templates for Logic and being able to work faster with them. Then I worked on a new song idea, and all of the footage is now worthless because I have no audio. And as you know, today is Valentine's Day. The plan for today is to get a nice present for Vanessa, enjoy the rest of the evening with her, so I don't have the time to repeat this entire tutorial. I might do it again tomorrow so that you also know how to do these templates in Logic. But for today, let's just do another edition of Q&A. The first question is by Chico. He's asking me how to learn to mix music, if there are any books that I could recommend. To be honest, it's better to just work in your DAW and try to figure out stuff just by trying it, maybe watching some tutorials. It's really important that you can hear what's actually done to the audio to really understand it. It's like buying a book to learn how to ride a bike. It's way easier to buy a bike and just ride it. Books, probably not the best. Sometimes magazines, they can give you inspiration and show you techniques that you didn't know about, and then you try them out. But books, really, I'm always smiling when I read through your comments. Not all of them are questions, some of them are just really nice, and it's really always a pleasure. I read through all of them. I can't always answer all of them, but I try to. Raphael is asking me how I choose the key of a track. That's actually quite complicated. If you only know a certain amount of keys, then use one that you know and feel comfortable with. But the key, it really depends on so many things. I'd say between minor and major, it's really the mood. Major is a bit brighter and happier, minor a bit sadder and ernster. What's ernster in more serious? More serious. It's more serious. And which key then really to go with, it depends a bit on the voice, I'd say. The singer might have a certain range, and it makes sense to have the words that are the most pronounced at the top of his range being the top of the key, if you kind of understand what I mean. But that's already like very, very detailed. I would just go with one where you can make a nice chord progression with, and try to always change the keys of your track. Don't always pick the same one. This will just sound boring, and if someone really analyzes your tracks and finds out that you're always just using a minor, that's a bit embarrassing. Ron is asking me what I think about Logic Pro X. In my personal opinion, my favorite DAW, because I'm already using it for 10 years. I can't even imagine switching. This would be a lot of wasted time just learning another DAW to make the same music at the end. So it really doesn't matter which DAW you choose. Just go with one, stick to it, learn it, and you will be all fine. Next question is also about DAWs, so maybe I should do a video comparing all of them, or just telling you that there is not a big difference and all of them have the same sound. It really doesn't matter. You can make any music with any DAW. Really, there's no difference in sound. Nobody can tell if a track was produced with Cubase or Logic. It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the question is if Fruity Loops is good. Yes, of course. Is it worth buying? Yes. Will it help me making trap music? Yes. At the end, you probably anyways work a lot with third-party plugins, and they are all the same on all DAWs. The only one I think is a bit unprofessional is Reason. It's a bit gimmicky. But other than that, all other DAWs are good, except maybe for GarageBand, but that's not really a DAW. The next question is if I get bored very fast of my projects that I start within a few hours, and if so, if I have any advice. I don't know. I actually don't really get bored of my own tracks when I work on them, but I kind of understand what you mean, because if you produce a track, you listen to it 100 times, you sometimes just listen to the same 8-bar loop for hours. So it can happen that it starts to just sound boring because you've listened to it a whole lot. But I would advise you just to bounce it out, send it to a friend, ask him, is this boring? If he says it's boring, it's probably boring, and you should just start making another musical idea. As a producer, you kind of have to learn to have a bit more distance from your own tracks. You're working so many hours on them. Just try to imagine being someone else listening to it for the first time. Would it be interesting and exciting for them? And if I ever have the feeling it's not exciting, I just try to make it exciting, adding effects, variation, maybe changing the melody, changing the sounds. You will always somehow get there. But if you stop working on it after a few hours because you're bored, you will never finish that track. So just stick to your idea, even if it might seem boring at that time. You never know what would have happened if you kept on working on it. I'd say you need at least 10 hours on a project to really know where it's going. So if you get bored after a few hours, just keep on going. And then after 10 hours, you can still decide if it's worth it to continue working on it or just start something else. The next question is a noob question. What's the difference between a key and a scale, and should I be making chord progressions out of a key or scale? It's almost kind of the same somehow. A key is, for example, A minor is a key, and it has a scale starting with an A using all of the white notes, and C major has the same scale just with another note starting. It's starting with C because they're parallel keys. So if you want to make chord progressions, you make the chord progressions in a key. The key is the key of the track, and you use the notes of the scale of the key to make the chord progressions. I hope this is making sense, but the scale are just the notes within the key that you can use to make the chords. Don't abuse Amazon's return policy. They ban people that do it too much. Yeah, I know some people that get banned, but I don't have another option. If I want to buy a mic, I need to test 3 or 4 of them and just pick the best one, and that's the only way for me to do it. There is no way I could go to the store. I checked with all of the camera stores here. They didn't even have all of those mics available. So ordering them, picking the best one, sending it back is the only way. Next question is by Vasil. He's asking me what my opinion is about self-publishing. Is it worth it, founding a label, publishing? No. If your tracks are not good enough that anybody else is interested in them, they're probably just not good enough. There are so many labels out there, and a lot of small labels that are very specific. So there shouldn't be a problem to find a label that wants to release your stuff. You just have to write them, send them your demos, and maybe pick labels that aren't so big. Just go with labels that are on the same level as you. You can, of course, self-publish them, but I think you will lose a lot of time taking care of the label. And most of the people that I know that start labels because they want to publish their own stuff, they just get lost and stop doing the label after a couple of months. It's just too much work, and at the end a label brings you fans and promotion and money and contacts, and you just don't have these things. So you will have a label, you will be able to publish your tracks on SoundCloud and Apple Music and all these kind of platforms, but nobody will ever listen to them without the right promotion and contacts. So just release the things on SoundCloud, see what feedback you get, and try also to send them out to labels. You will eventually get a label. It's not that hard. If your tracks are good, I'm sure someone is interested in releasing them, because the labels, they're also just looking for artists that make good tracks. Dan is asking me if I have any suggestions for deciding when to start over or when to carry on and finish up the song. I try to figure that out as early on as possible. This way I'm not wasting a lot of time mixing a track that I never release. But if you're someone that has problems finishing tracks and you haven't finished a track in months, then just keep on working on a track and finish it. Because finished tracks you can release on SoundCloud, send out to labels. If the track isn't finished and you pile up a lot of unfinished tracks, your hard drive is just full with unfinished tracks, and that's like wasting a whole lot of time in nothing, kind of. So try to force you to finish the track. If you think it's not good enough to finish it, then try to decide that early on. For me, it's usually after I've done the musical stuff. If the musical stuff isn't working, I'm not continue working on the track. Let's do just one more. It's by Riverside Productions. He's asking me who's my motivation to my work ethic. I think I will just go with my parents. As you know, they're both artists, they're both self-employed. Since the day I was born, I don't know anything else. That's always what surrounded me. And they are both working really hard and are working in a business that isn't easy. Same with music, same for me. So I know the problems, the struggle, the grind you have to go through. And it's also a big motivation for me to see both of them still doing what they love. And if you do something you really love, it's a lot easier. It doesn't always feel that much like work. If I would do the same hours every day for someone else, I would have probably already quit a long time ago, especially with the really bad wage per hour that I'm kind of getting for making my music and the videos and all the things around it. But I love it, so I'm keeping on doing it as long as I can. Speaking of things that I love, it's time to leave this place, pick up Vanessa, and have a really nice Valentine's evening with her. I think I would just go with flowers and chocolate. There's nothing you can do wrong with those two. It's a bit cliche, but I still need the good present ideas for her birthday that is coming up really soon, and our anniversary, so yeah, just chocolate and flowers.